Hey, everyone. All right, we're going to wait for a few minutes while everyone's hopping on. Hope you guys are having a great morning. All right. There we go. Have some people popping on. If you're just popping on, we're going to wait a few minutes, allow people to get logged in and get settled. Then we'll get started. All right. How are you doing, Shelley?
Good. Super silent here in this hotel room.
I know. It's kind of nice, but eerie, right?
Yeah, nice but eerie. Definitely. I'm rested, so I can't complain.
Good. Well, I feel like I should preface that my new doggy's down here with me and she snores. So I can hear her snoring right now. So if you guys hear snoring, that's where it's coming from.
So cute.
Yes. All right. Well, I've got a couple minutes past 11 my time. So I'm going to go ahead and we can get started. I'm going to pop my screen up real quick with our presentation. All right. Can you guys see that okay?
I can.
Awesome. All right. So welcome to the part 3 of the 3rd annual CTR series. And this is going to be a pretty casual conversation as we kind of go through our updates, what we've been up to the last couple months, and then also where are we going forward. But I first want to remind you that we had 2 awesome conversations with our industry partners, Neurocrine Biosciences and Praxis. And that happened in the last 2 weeks. So both of those sessions were recorded. So you guys can jump on to our website and watch those at any time. We've posted those in the Facebook event page. We've also put that in our support page as well. So feel free to drop in and watch those at any time. So today I have the lovely Shelley Frappier with me today, and then we're going to have a guest appearance from Karen Varner as well. And so today we're going to start out with talking about our Neurocrine Bioscience lab tour that Shelley and I did. How fun was that, Shelley?
Super fun. And of course, in this moment, I'm getting a knock at the door. So if you can
yeah. Sounds good. I'll take over. All right. So whenever Shelley and I went to Global Genes in San Diego, or actually, I guess it was last month, we got to visit the Neurocrine labs, and we truly were treated like VIPs for the day. We got to, well, first of all, we had the tour from Dimitri, and Dimitri has been with Neurocrine for 30 years, like really since the beginning of Neurocrine starting. And so he was full of history and all kinds of fun things to chat about. And as you can see, so we've got Dimitri there in the middle between Shelley and I, and then we have Tyler next to us, which you guys met him during several of our CTR and Meaningful Change series. But Shelley, you want to talk a little bit about the Lunch and Learn and what we got to do that with that?
Sure. After the tour, which by the way was fascinating, and the amount of equipment and technology, and over the last few years, they've really, Neurocrine really took it upon themselves to like go into the next level of research. And well, I can't even explain it, but they were doing stuff that no one else is doing with robots and AI, and really, really, really amazing things. But
I can actually see one of the robots in that bottom right-hand corner.
Ron,
Dimitri, yeah. You can see that robot, that it was literally like a Roomba, like a robot vacuum, but it wasn't a vacuum, and it would be able to take these trays and move it to all these places. It was so cool.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And it was an hour and a half. So it wasn't just a 5-minute walk through. We spent an hour and a half with Dimitri, got the entire history of Neurocrine and all of the amazing things they've been working on. But after that, we were invited to have a lunch and learn with the staff of Neurocrine, and there were upwards of 40 staff members. And Casey and I were able to take quite a large amount of time and really share our unique journeys with our SC and 8A kiddos. And I can tell you there were no dry eyes in the room as we shared our unique journeys. And then we were able to answer questions. And there were a lot of questions about formulations and how, what triggers seizures, and just trying to give these researchers and staff members, an inside look of what it really is like to live with SC and 8A every day. So we really felt heard. We were treated like VIPs, like Casey said, and it was a truly remarkable experience to, for us, it's every day, but for them, they really, really, really appreciated hearing, how unique it is living both journeys. Like Stella and Nico live such separate lives with SC and 8A, but in both ways, like how, life-changing a precision medication could be for both of our kids. And, they, give them an extra little boost to their jump start on a day. It was really, truly remarkable.
I agree. And yeah, you touched on this too, that I guess I was surprised as I've had more conversations with industry partners on how interested they are in our day-to-day and what it's like to live our life. I wasn't really expecting that, I was thinking more scientific driven things, but they really are so interested in our kids and our daily life and quality of life and what that means to everyone.
And especially things like, like we said, the medication formulation, exactly how do our kids take medication? Even Nico, who takes food by mouth and every type of food, we still crush his tablets. We mix them with, water to, and, even just telling them the steps that I have to go through, and not even mentioning G tubes until, till after, when Casey was talking about Stella, to hear that it doesn't matter how your kiddo is, that the medication has to be easily taken or it just can't be. So it was really nice.
It was really nice. It was one of the highlights of our trip for sure.
Yeah.
So in that same trip, we were able to attend the Global Gene Summit. And this was really fun. This was my first kind of awareness conference. I had been to the Epilepsy Pipeline Conference in June, but this was my first awareness. And it was really nice that Shelly and I were able to go together and bounce ideas off of each other. And this is not Shelly's first conference to go to. So here I am writing down all these notes and just all of this information. She's like, you're going to have to step back and take little bites of this, because it was like a water hose of information, which is so exciting.
Fire hose, not water hose. We're talking fire hose
right.
of info.
Yes. And so a few things that I took away, and I'll let Shelly kind of jump in and what she took away, but there was some really cool family resources that we got, or different people that we chatted with that thought, you know what, that might be a really good opportunity for us to bring them on for meaningful change or a particular workshop or something like that. Also, I went to a couple of the fundraising meetings and got some different ideas and some different resources for that. And one of the things I was really excited about was a new product that we got to see firsthand. And it was a emergency alert headrest. And so cut a headrest cover. So you put it over the headrest of your car, and it alerts emergency personnel that if you were in a car accident, and it had a special little pocket that you could put the medical information and things like that. So just being able to walk around to all the different booths and see what's out there and what we could bring back to the community was really exciting. What was some takeaways from the conference for you, Shelly?
For me, like you said, not being my first and being very, one of the biggest things in these conferences is sitting in the sessions is wonderful, but the biggest takeaways for me are the connections I make at the conference with other like-minded people. And to
Mhm.
be in a huge conference room with 1,000 people, and maybe not 1,000, but there were a few
That's a
hundred
lot.
people where everyone's living goal to be in that room is to better the lives of people with rare disease, whether they're industry partners, clinicians, caregivers, or advocates. I had my advocate hat on. I didn't have my parent hat on. And to just be having conversations with, there were different ages, all the way from infants, all the way up to older family members, people of different colors, people of different abilities. Like, you couldn't look at a table and see, nobody looked the same. And it was just such an amazing experience. But for me, I always feel like I'm with my people
Mhm.
when I'm in these conferences, and to sit down with other advocates and really sit down and share, what successes are you having right now in your communities? While it's all different diseases,
Mhm.
all of our diseases are the same when it comes to advocacy. We want to share, our stories. We want to share our successes, but also, what are the difficulties we're having in our communities, retaining volunteers or having volunteers, or just a sheer amount of hours in a day to get the advocacy done is really difficult. But I love now that I can take snippets of that fire hose, but I'm also able to also help other communities that are first starting out, and newer advocates, and connect other people. Oh, I know she's doing really great at this. You should go talk to this person.
Mhm.
Um, it's really nice for me, to be able to help newer advocates, but also learn from some of the older advocates in a room. One of my favorite parts of the conference was storytelling and sharing our stories. And we met a podcaster named Kara, and she has the Special Needs Mom podcast. And
Mhm.
I listened to lots of podcasts, but when I came home, and the first couple times I listened to Kara's podcast, I was like, this is my woman. This is a podcast that's not about our children. It's about us, and
Mhm.
about us as moms and living this journey. And Casey and I had the opportunity to share a 2 to 3 minute story, and Kara recorded it. And I'm going to put a little plug in right now, because that podcast will launch on October 13th. So next week we'll share that with you guys once it's live. But I think Kara said she has about 13 or 14 short stories about different advocates and caregivers, and sharing their journeys and sharing their stories. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah. And these stories, we got to actually listen to each other record, but also another mom that was there. And these stories are very raw and real, which I think is nice for us to hear, because sometimes we sugarcoat our lives so much because it's just, we normalize so much. And so these stories were very raw and very relatable. So yeah, I'm super excited for that to go live. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is our gathering. And so I'd like to welcome Karen onto the screen as we kind of chat through. Hey, Karen.
Hey,
Hey,
Karen.
Hey. So you guys have been at the gathering longer than I have. But my first gathering, I'm trying to remember, I think was in 2017 in Washington, DC.
yes.
And yeah, it was life-changing. Like, I feel like your first gathering is just so remarkable on because you don't know what to expect, right? Like, everyone's talking about it in the support group, the gathering, everyone's going to the gathering, and you see some pictures and you're like, well, that looks pretty cool. But until you actually go and you get to experience that firsthand. So we wanted to talk about a little bit about the gathering and what you should expect, because we have a lot of new families and we haven't been in person since 2019 because of stupid COVID. So this year it's going to be in person. And we will also have it live streaming for those of you at home that cannot make it. But if you come, what should you expect? Well, one of the biggest things that I think you're going to take home away from this experience is that connection with other families. And then also seeing the connection with our researchers and the other clinicians and our industry partners. one of the biggest things I took away from my first gathering is that so much of the time we feel so alone, right? We're alone, we feel isolated, like we're climbing up this big hill and we're just never going to get to the top, right? And when I showed up to my first gathering and they started talking about a possible clinical trial, I was like, wait a minute. People care about my child. Like, it's not just me fighting this journey uphill. I have this whole team of people that are working on this that I had no idea even existed. So we kind of go through here, and we have some wonderful pictures here of hugs and connection. And so I'll talk a little bit about what Friday is going to look like. And then I'll kind of lean it over to Karen and Shelley. So again, these are kind of loose times as we're still working with the hotel and everything, but Friday we're looking at starting around 1 or 2 o'clock. And we're going to have, we're looking at an education, like an SENAA 101 or something similar to that for families to come to. So this would just be families. And we're hoping to have some snacks and really just kind of have an area for you guys to do a little meet and greet before the gathering starts. The gathering itself will start at 6 p.m. at the hotel. And that's where the big education chunk is going to happen. We're going to hear from our 2 industry partners, Praxis and Neurocrine, get some updates from them. We're also going to have a clinician roundtable that will be hosted by Dr. John Schreiber. And then we're going to have a researcher roundtable that will be hosted by Manoj Patel. And so that is very similar to how we've done it for the last couple of years, and that will be happening again. We say 6 to 10, but just keep in mind, we always go over, always, because there's just so much to talk about and so many questions to ask. But yeah, so that will happen on Friday night. Do you guys have anything to add as far as, maybe Karen, do you want to talk a little bit about what the environment is if you're bringing your child?
Sure. First of all, clinicians, researchers, they love our families being there. They even commented last year how they missed having everyone there. So don't feel like it's this very stuffy, formal setting. They're used to people getting up and having to leave the room. We have kids that are running around. Some, it's fine. If you have to get up and leave, it's fine. You're not interrupting anybody. It's pretty low key, and they're used to that. I will say this though, some of the lectures, they have videos, they have slides with them. Just be prepared. They can be a little bit hard to watch because there will be animal seizing. I think they've had videos of kids seizing. So they're usually fairly good about giving us a heads up before they do it, but just be aware that happens, because I know some people that's kind of a trigger for them. But it's great. It is long. We will have food, but it is long. But you will learn so much. And at first, it may seem like it's going over your head. But I know I've been doing this since, when was our first one in Philadelphia? Yeah. Every time I listen to these, I bring back one more thing to my knowledge from everybody. So
yeah, it definitely is a lot of information. Some of it's I'm like, yeah, I think I got that. And then they keep going and you're like, phew. But like you said, every time you hear it, every time you listen to it, every time you'll get a chunk more. And then, after a couple of years, you'll start feeling much more confident with it. But what's nice about it is that you can start picking up on a few things, start learning the lingo. And when you go back to your neurologist and you can really advocate for your child and say, well, I heard Dr. John Schreiber talk about X, Y, and Z, and you can really advocate for your child. So the next thing would be on Saturday. And Saturday is where we're bringing in the fun. We are going to start out the day probably not too early. We're not going to get too crazy after our gathering the night before. But we're going to start out with most likely a breakfast. So a small breakfast for everybody to kind of come together and enjoy. we are working on, I don't know if you guys have watched the video yet, called Unseen. It's a documentary and it's about a caregiver's point of view. And we're really excited. We're working on it right now. So nothing's set in stone yet, but we're looking at doing a live viewing of that. I'm also hoping that we can get a link for those at home if they want to watch it from home. So that way they have that opportunity as well. So if you're in person, we'll have that we're hoping to have that viewing and then have kind of a discussion panel afterwards. And then I'm going to hand it over to Karen so she can discuss a fun activity that she is organizing.
So I don't know about you all. I'm very excited for this year because number one, it's in my state. So Lily can be there, my husband can be there, and get to see everyone. But I also miss you all. Like Casey said, it's been 2 years since we've been together, and it's just not the same thing seeing each other on Zoom. And so we want to do something special. When you haven't seen family for a long time, what do? You have a family reunion. And so from 12 to 2, we are going to have a family reunion, but we're going to amp it up a bit and we're going to make it a dance party. So everyone get out your boots, throw on some jeans. We're going to learn some line dances. We're going to have food. We're going to have a photo booth. But most important, we are going to have time for you all to spend together, to get caught up, to give each other hugs, for our kids to run around, roll around, crawl around, scream, laugh, but most important, dance. So I hope everyone will come. Like I said, there will be food and just time for us to be together.
Yeah, I'm looking at this picture from 2019, and can you imagine like how they're so grown up now when you look at those kiddos? Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're so grown. So we need it. We need this family reunion. And thank you so much, Karen, for organizing it. We're excited. So I wanted to give a little bit of a heads up on our travel grants. So this is a really good problem to have. Ryan Patino, he's our treasurer on the TCSF board of directors, and he raised nearly $65,000 during his comedy fundraiser, and 10,000 of that was earmarked for our travel grants. So we were expecting to be able to give somewhere between the $6 and $750 travel grants. But now that we have this money, that's changing things up a bit. And so what I wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up is that I emailed everyone last night that applied for the grant and kind of gave you a little bit of an update. So if you did not get an email from me, please reach back out to me because I want to make sure I haven't missed anybody. And so I'm either needing more information from you, or we're chatting about the next steps. So make sure that you check your email and you're staying up on that, and we will talk a little bit more about this. But I just wanted everyone to know that we're in a really good spot where we have now more money to spend, which makes the grant, it might look a little bit different for the better. So go check your email and make sure you get back to me if you have not got an email from me. All right. So as we move on to our drivers.
Can I interrupt and go back to the gathering?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I talked to Judy, my new best friend at the at the Renaissance Nashville, and we have opened up more regular rooms this morning. So if you still need to book your room, so please get on, go online to the link I sent. Book your room. If you have not booked your room, I really encourage you to do it now because we are filling up. We're trying to add more as we go along. And the easiest and best way to do that is to call Judy directly because Judy is a rock star and she will get you all the things that you need for your hotel room. The second thing, I will be sending invitations out shortly. When I say shortly, I don't mean tomorrow. I mean in the next couple of weeks. And I know a lot of you will be asking if your clinicians are invited and who we can invite. If you would like to invite your clinician, once I send you the invitation, please send it either through your electronic health record like Epic or however else you communicate, or via email, or if you'd like me to do it, I will put a call out for email addresses for your clinicians. And I think that was it. It's really just, please go book your hotel rooms or get back to Casey in your email. If you received a grant and would like to attend, please reach back out to Casey or myself and we'll help you get that hotel room.
Yes.
Do it soon.
Casey, you also mentioned yesterday when we were talking about kind of the time frame for the gathering, for when people should arrive and plan on leaving. You want to go over
Yes.
that?
Yeah, that's a great idea. So if you were planning the perfect vacation, if you will, perfect gathering experience, ideally, I think that you would come in on Thursday. That way you have plenty of time to relax and rest Friday morning, and then we'll get started Saturday or Friday afternoon, like I said, around that 1 to 2 mark. And then you would stay Friday. And then Saturday, because we have all of our fun events that morning, I would suggest if you're able to stay Saturday night, that would be great. I know Karen, because this is her home state, has some really fun family activities that you guys can, go separate and do your own thing with your own family, or if you want to have a whole group of you guys go. One of the really cool places that people have mentioned is Christmas lights, because it will be in December. Weather in Tennessee during December, it could be kind of warm. It could be, you were out without power about this time last year. So who knows? But there are some really cool opportunities for Saturday evening if you guys want to go together as a family, or your own separate family plans, and then you would leave on Sunday. So that would be ideal. But if you're able to just come in on Friday, as long as you're there by early afternoon, you'd still make the gathering that evening. And if you were able to leave, Saturday afternoon, late evening, then you would still be able to attend our events as well.
We should be done on Saturday by 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really just what your family is able to do. But ideally, in a perfect world, that's kind of our schedule. So. Also, I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump on the Q&A box there and ask us any questions as we're going through here. We are an open book. Okay, so drivers, I looked back through, and I know that me being new as executive director, the general themes are the same. So we're all about raising awareness, funding research, continuing those relationships with industry partners, and also supporting families. But one of the really big things that we're working on is strategic planning. So we're looking at short-term and long-term strategic plans and goals for the foundation. Where are we going from here? And so one of the big things I wanted to point out right now is I wanted to brag on Hillary here, because when I went to the Pipeline Conference in June, I saw SCNAA pop up on the screen of these presenters numerous times. And I feel like in years past, that might have been Dravet, it's all these LGS, different things, but SCNAA was up there a lot. And so I feel that because of her push of raising awareness and our foundation and what we've done to put ourselves out there and make sure that people know who we are and who our kids are, we have come a really long way. And to have one clinical trial in progress and one on a horizon, it really solidified between going to both of these conferences how amazing that is. Like, that is not something that others are like, I'd love anything, someone to just listen to me, right? And here we have the ears of 2 major industry partners. And that is just, I don't want that to go unnoticed, because I've realized, being kind of in the sector, that is not normal. And so a really big pat on the back for this foundation prior to me, and what you guys have done has been amazing. So we will continue to raise awareness. We're also going to continue to look for research opportunities to fund, whether that's very specific to SCNAA, or if we start branching out to different things like movement disorders, things like that our kids are suffering from in addition to SCNAA. And then the other really big thing that we're looking at is supporting families possibly in a different way, more with impactful ways that we can help your day to day. And so as we move forward, I know that's kind of a cliffhanger, but as we move forward with this strategic planning and we're looking at how to fundraise and how to get to where we want to be, we'll keep you guys informed. All right, so with that said, we have all these fun, exciting ideas. And after the last board meeting, which was last on Monday, and how excited they are to really move TCSF to the next level, I was pumped. And we are super excited, especially on the executive team, as we're looking at these big projects. But that means that we're going to need help from you guys as well. Okay, so I'm calling for volunteers. Now, I feel like I kind of put everybody in almost 3 different categories. Some of you are already volunteers and working your behind off, and we appreciate you so much. There may be some of you that are like, oh, I volunteered for a bit but had big life things happen, which we completely understand. And maybe you haven't been active as much, but you have an idea or you have a particular thing that you really want to work on. Then we're calling you up. We're saying, hey, come to us and tell us. Maybe you're wanting to help, but you're not sure if you're going to have the time. So what we're kind of looking at is that there might be, let's say we have an awareness, almost awareness day committee, and those people work really hard on awareness day. And then they may not have a whole lot to do for the rest of the year. So if that seemed to work out with your schedule, is that you work on one big project a year, and then you kind of take a back seat for the rest of the year, that works. Or if you're like, you know what, I have 1 hour a week that I can work on social media posts or help with book club or something like that, we'll take that too. And then you might be, I'm super pumped, I'm excited, sign me up, I'll do whatever. And we will take that as well. So Shelly, if we have people that are like, yes, I want to help in some type of capacity, or I have this really cool new idea, kind of like when I had book club in 2019, and then we got that grant and it was like, hey, here we go, we're going to do this. What would you suggest for volunteers to go forward with that?
I think for me, the best thing is having a conversation. So pick your person or pick all 3 of us. Yeah. And open up that conversation. If you want to talk to Karen or Casey or myself about anything that you want to do, we will help you get started. Because Casey mentioned the grant idea. I can't tell you how many times, and this is a really sad problem that I particularly have had in the last couple of years, is this grant has come across my lap. We'll give you $10,000 to do this activity. And then I have to think, okay, Shelly, here's the money. Would you be able to implement the activity that you said? And I was like, no, I don't have any time. So I don't apply for the grant. So I think just to have another person to do an extra activity or something that you have, like we could move the world with bodies and manpower. Because there have been a lot of things that we've had to table in the last couple of years because we just don't have the hours in a day to do them. And like Casey said, if you have an hour a day for a whole month, or you have 10 hours a week for the whole year, and anything in between, we would love to have you help and just approach Karen, Casey, or I, or all 3 of us, and we'll have a conversation and see where you best fit. And, if you could take one little activity off my plate or Casey's or Karen's, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. And then it allows us to work harder for these big projects that we have in mind that we think could be super impactful for our community. Yeah. All right. So that's all I had for today. Do we have any questions pop up? It didn't look like it, or maybe we had one and it went away.
I answered one. It was just about the timing of the family activity and on the Saturday. So 100% of our gathering activities will occur between about noon on the Friday till early afternoon on the Saturday.
Yep.
Within that, about 30 hours, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, before I forget, I don't want to forget our amazing platinum sponsors right now. So we have Neurocrit and Praxis. Both of them are platinum sponsors that helped bring the CTR series to your guys's computers or cell phones or whatever you're using right now to watch. And it seems like the Zoom webinar, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like it's worked out pretty well.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I had a hard time getting on today, just to be honest. But the ease of use and I have found it a lot easier and a lot easier to share with families. And like Casey said, one less login to remember, even though I don't know if you guys are like me and use the same password for everything. It doesn't work.
And we didn't have to refresh.
No refresh. That is true. Yep, that is true. Well, and I know Karen, you even said you watched one of them in the basement of a hospital room,
Yeah.
and it worked out great.
Yeah, I was actually shocked because I can't get cell service. So I was like, hey, this works.
Yes. Well, good.
We're happy.
Well, do you guys, like anybody at home, do you guys have any questions before we hop off? I know this was kind of a quick one. We'll give you back some time. Ooh, I see one. Okay, good.
Yeah.
It looked like Heather
Thanks,
said,
Heather. Yeah, she booked. I think that should say booked the hotel this week. It was easy. Yeah. And it is super easy whether you call Judy or do it online, but I do recommend calling Judy because she's super easy. And Lacey, I don't think we've decided yet exactly how we're going to do the live stream. Do you know, Casey?
yeah, so yes and no. So what we've done is we've actually hired a production company to come in and they are going to live stream it. From what I gathered in my very first conversations is that will actually go through, I believe, the Zoom webinar. And so we will definitely be keeping you guys posted. But what that's going to allow us to do, I don't know, those of you who were able to see this at home last year during our hybrid event, it was a little difficult to keep track of the room. So the presentations in the room and the questions in the room, but then also those of you at home. And so some of you, there was audio issues and things like that. And so we're hoping with this production company having a professional come in and do it, that the at-home experience is going to be much more robust than it was during the hybrid event. So we're pretty excited about that. So my first thing is I believe it should be on Zoom is what we're going to do. But again, more information to follow.
Definitely not hopping. We know that.
Yeah, definitely not hopping. Yep. So, yep. Kristen's asking how many doctors or professionals attend our event and how many parents are we expecting? Well, I know our room block, if that is a indication. Let's see how many rooms. I think at one point in time we have 20 rooms or 21 rooms booked already. And we still have probably, I don't know, at least 5 or 10 parents that we know that still need to book.
Yeah, our gathering tends to run our largest. So because this one's on, it's not really the East Coast, right? But it's, in the general area where the majority of our families are located in a really accessible place. And Nashville is cheaper to fly into than some other places that I am expecting about 200 to 250 people in attendance. And that looks like about, I would probably say about 75 of those will be family members, and then the rest will be an even mix of industry, clinicians, and researchers. Yeah. And yes, Michelle, your children and all of our children, regardless of age or noise level, are welcome the entire event.
Yes,
absolutely. And I'm here to babysit.
Yeah, I can't wait to snuggle a baby. So I will hold your baby and work at the same time because
we're fighting over that.
Because we have done it. We have done it. We have had newborns and we have had loud adults. Mm-hmm. And that's, I'm going to be honest, that's my favorite part. My favorite part of the gathering is having, every time I'm speaking, having Billy cheer for me from the back of the room. Is it disruptive? Yes.
Too,
but it's such a welcome disruption for all of us. And I can, even Lily, like she's giving her mom the stink eye right now going, oh, Mom, don't talk about me on screen, but your Auntie Shelly's going to talk about you and being a disruptor in the room, Miss Lily. She's like, oh, stop. I'm trying to have a nap. Had a long day. No, all children are welcome all the time, regardless if they're running back and forth through the aisles or yelling from the back or sleeping quietly in your arms, or you have to do suction in the room and there's a loud machine going. Please have your children in the room.
And that's what makes, I think, our gathering so unique And others are like, wait a minute, what? You have families and clinicians and researchers there? And we're like, yes, and it's wonderful.
Mhm.
So, yep, absolutely. Oh, Kristen, that would be great. Thank you. She's working on getting some decals that will be at the gathering. That would be great as well.
Amazing, Kristen. Thank you. And thank you so much to your dad, who's always creating really amazing things for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love my clock.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions as we kind of wrap up? Or anything that I forgot? I'm like looking over my notes. You have good intentions and then you get sidetracked.
No, I think that we hit the main points, talking about how amazing our trip was to San Diego and to the Global Genes. So I can put a plug in. Casey and I are traveling to Washington, DC in 2 weeks to attend the NORD Summit, which is the North American Organization for Rare Disorders. We're attending that conference. It is similar to Global Genes, where it's an international or heavily national rare disease meeting, but the last piece of it is our registry piece, and the Cute Syndrome has their survey series or registry with NORD, and I was lucky enough to be selected as a panelist, so I will be speaking
Hey,
about
that's awesome.
our survey series and how unique and wonderful it is to other registry participants with NORD. So that's pretty exciting that we get to do that so soon. So we'll give you an update on that.
I'll plug also, I'll be in California Halloween weekend with Liz Ramirez for the Epilepsy Awareness Day at Disney. So if anybody is going, please stop by. We will have a booth in the expo part. And I'm not sure if you can still, I think you can still register. It's free if you want to go to Disneyland on Wednesday, which is the day that everybody goes and they take a big picture and everything. You have to pay for the tickets and obviously for your hotel, but the actual conference is free to families. So stop by, say hi, love to see everybody, and we're there to spread awareness.
Yeah. Oh, I should also plug too that Danielle Hayward has been working on a silent auction fundraiser for the week of the gathering. So we are really excited. That's something brand new. And she's working together with Trinity Young, which is Natasha's sister, which is so just heartwarming. It makes me tear up. So she reached out and said, hey, I want to help. I want to do something as a sibling. And so we paired her up with Danielle, and they're working really hard together to do this virtual silent auction. So I believe that Danielle's going to be posting on the Cute Syndrome actual public facing Facebook group in the next day or two that has like, how do you sign up if you want to, actually give something for the silent auction. So then that way you can share with your families and friends and get that word out so we can get some really cool auction items. So we can hit up everybody at the gathering to spend their money on our wonderful kids. So yeah, so that's super exciting too. All right. Anything else, guys, that you can think of?
No, you know me, I could keep this conversation
I
going
know.
for hours, but
I guess we have to remember it's not book club.
which another
But-
plug, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Join
But
book club. We would love to have you.
yes, remember, you don't have to read the book to come to book club.
We forgot to discuss the book at the last meeting.
We do. Yeah, there's like 5% of the time we actually talk about the book. What was it? Isn't it Violette that was like, they don't even talk about the book. I've listened outside the door.
My daughter said that to my husband. She's like, she's just lying to you. She doesn't do book club. They just talk.
Yes, which is nice. So it's about
conversations with like-minded moms that we just need to be together and talk about how wonderful and difficult our lives are.
yes. So Monday nights, 7:30 to 8:30 Eastern time. We would love to have you pop on. All right. Well, ladies, until we meet again, I guess we'll sign off.
Sounds good. Good
Right.
night or good afternoon,
Everyone. Yes, wherever you may be.
whatever time you
Thanks,
watch.
everybody.
Bye.